All right, welcome back to the Binary Sunset. It's episode 21.
21. We are now drinking age,
Yep.
and we have two beverages.
Yep.
This was poorly planned because this is not what I want to be drinking right now. But what are you drinking right now, AV?
So right now I am drinking, I found whatever was in my fridge. I'm drinking, it's called Founders All Day IPA. It's a session ale. I don't know what that means, but it's got a hatchback with a canoe on top of it, on the front of it. Like we're going to go camping or
Nice.
something. It looks like a summer beer. I'll say that much.
Okay, all right. I can get
Um,
down. I can get down and dirty with the summer
Yeah.
beer.
We're almost
I've
there.
heard it. I've seen it before. But I've never actually had one.
Yeah,
so I should
this is
probably
my
get
first.
one.
This is my first time
And
What are you drinking?
I am drinking a rosé.
all day.
Just
right
a
now.
regular, yep, just a regular rosé. And I am not a wine connoisseur of any sorts. This rosé is not even mine. It was just in my fridge, and it's the only alcohol I have in my entire house.
Fair
So,
enough.
besides a bunch of whiskey that I only break out for special occasions. So, yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, okay. All right. That sounds good. I'm not a fan of rosé. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really like it very much.
Okay, so here's the thing. I wasn't either. This one's not that sweet though.
Okay.
So yeah, it tastes more like white wine. Anyway, this
Okay,
this
that's not bad.
podcast isn't about
It's
wine,
not about
but
alcohol. This is about a very special show that we're watching, that the whole community's watching, right?
the whole community.
Or you know what? Let me crack mine open. Hold on. This is gonna fuck with the audio. Oh, not that bad. That was gonna
That was a nice crisp sound.
blast right into the red. All right. A nice crisp. All right. Here,
Cheers.
I'm gonna do. This is gonna be a ASMR for you.
Oh,
listeners.
great. Ugh.
It's gonna sound gross.
I'll do mine at the same time. I don't know why we did that, because that would just I feel like people will not listen now.
No. We've half of the 50% of the listenership has just dropped off.
Yeah.
They're like, I thought this was a Star Wars podcast. All right.
Anyway,
all right,
let's get back
started.
on target. Back on target.
Stay
So
on target.
let's talk about episode 3, replacements.
Let's do it.
Were we talking about filler last week? Because
Uh-oh. I sense an attitude.
no, it's just, I mean, this was more filler, I felt like, than last week.
Yeah,
And
well,
again, I'm fine with filler, but
Sure. I don't know if it was. Yeah. Well, once again, I don't really subscribe to the filler ideology,
the
but
filler mentality.
I think on the whole, I think very positively about this episode. Thinking back, I watched it on. It took me a couple days. I watched it on Saturday night.
Oh.
I tried to avoid spoilers like crazy, but I actually liked it a lot. I liked it a lot because of primarily Crosshair's B plot.
Yeah,
That was super cool. That was the
we're seeing a lot of growth.
well, not in the right
Yeah.
direction, but
Yeah, not in the right direction, but there's still a lot of growth.
yeah. I liked it. I liked it because of. I mean, this is like such a cool period of time, this transitionary period, and I've like thought about it a lot, like growing up, like what does that look like, and actually seeing it is really 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 fun. Because you're seeing this first little squadron of just like oh my god, conscripted soldiers. Conscripted soldiers.
Yes.
That's okay. To be fair, that's a hard thing to say. But that are under the command of Crosshair.
Yeah.
And their plot, their B plot, basically is just like why it's in a nutshell, like why the Empire is the Empire and why we look poorly upon it. Like the Republic would never have dreamt of going through with those orders.
No.
And the thing is, though, like what's interesting about what happened. So maybe we should recap first.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, let's recap it. So I'll be honest, I kind of forgot a lot of it.
So I think essentially we should probably focus more on Crosshair stuff because basically,
Crosshair was the only one that really mattered, honestly.
Yeah, basically what happened with the other Bad Batch people are just they crash landed, and they were trying to keep their like ship's power away from this like weird like chicken dragon thing,
Yeah.
and that's about it.
And the
And then
chicken dragon
and Omega, but
basically
Omega Hmm?
steals the chicken dragon steals, what is it, a power converter?
Something
I just
like
go back
power
to the
coupling or
Ewok.
whatever it's called.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just go back to the Ewok movie, Battle Vendor.
Literally, that's like the same. Isn't it like the same
it's
device?
like the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Power coupling, just something that powers the ship. The monster steals it. Omega and Hunter go after the monster. It's kind of like kind of scary, where they're kind of like looking for this monster. The monster attacks Hunter, knocks him out. Omega's left, and Omega goes down this like little rabbit hole
Well, she
into the
grabs
nest.
his his gun and just like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll do this myself.
She grabs his gun, goes into this little rabbit hole,
Puts his
finds
mask
the
on
nest.
first, though.
Yes, finds the
of COVID.
monster, throws her flashlight because she realizes the monster only likes it because it's attracted to
Mhm.
electricity, and then she gets the power converter, power cufflink, and then meets Hunter. And when she returns, Heavy surprises her with her own room, and that's literally the entire story.
Wrecker.
plot.
Wrecker.
Wrecker, sorry, Wrecker, not Heavy.
Well, you know what I do
Yeah.
want to talk about. I know that's pretty much you pretty much summed it up. But the one moment I do really want to talk about that was of note and that really that I really liked of that
Okay.
side plot was when she's in the cave
Yeah.
with Hunter's gun and her flashlight, and she's like basically ready to pull the trigger in a way.
Uh-huh.
It's very reminiscent of the scene in Rise of Skywalker, a movie that we don't like, but that I think like in the cave with that snake, very
Oh, with
reminiscent of
Rey,
it, because
yeah.
everyone just wants to blast it, right? But Rey takes a second. It's like, well, hold on, let's see why it's acting
Force
this
heal
way.
it up.
But you know, she could have shot that monster. She didn't. She like took a second, lowered her weapon, and then she just thought about it. Like, why is this monster acting this way?
Yep.
Realized it's because of its nature, right? It requires a certain thing to survive, and gave it that. And so a death was not necessarily taken that day, or a life was not necessarily taken that day. I like
Yeah.
that. And it showed a lot of who Omega was in that moment. But yeah, so that's basically that. She gets her own little space in the.
I'm still waiting for her to bust out, because in the trailer, like before
The
the
bow
show
and
was
arrow
released,
thing?
yeah, the bow and arrow. I'm waiting for her bow and arrow. That
I
looked
forgot
pretty
about
cool.
that.
So,
Yeah, I
she's
think
gonna
that's
get down and dirty at some point.
that's like that bow and
She-
arrow. I think is the same like type of weapon that was used by the witches on Dathomir.
Oh, okay.
That's like their weapon.
Interesting.
Um,
All right.
so I don't know if she has any connection to that. But anyway, yeah.
So that's A
pretty
plot.
much the A plot. Yep.
And then the B plot is it really starts out with Tarkin and his lackey. I mean, not lackey, but
I
like
forgot
just
the name of the
another-
admiral.
Yeah, Admiral, and the Admiral's trying to convince Tarkin that the future is that like clones, like super advanced clones, will lead little troops of humans or people that enlist in the Empire,
Yeah.
and that's the future of their enforcement.
Kind of like a
And-
hybrid of the
Yeah,
empire
it's-
that we know
Yeah.
that it becomes, and like the Republic army. Yeah.
Yeah, and then basically Tarkin just sends them to do the same mission that he sent the Bad Batch to do originally, which
Mhm.
is go back to Saw Gerrera's camp and kill the traitors. And at the beginning, some of the humans are very they don't like Crosshair leading them. And one of the guys who's like definitely this alpha male guy is like, oh, we're gonna replace you. Like,
I mean,
don't.
he's not wrong.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
You know, I really want, for some reason, I really want Crosshair to be French. I don't know why.
French.
He
He
to
just
me.
kind of looked like put a little hat
Yeah.
on him. Or,
Yeah, put a little beret on him.
yeah, beret or like emo. He's just
think it's the
super
toothpick that gets me.
emo. Yeah. But
What a bad boy.
He still annoys me. I just can't handle.
Oh, I like him. I think he's
just
fucking
how he
badass.
talks. I think he's just emo and annoying.
I think he's pretty cool.
Just the way he talks. Okay, I mean, what he does is cool, but like how he just sounds like an emo kid. He's like,
Sure.
why does it matter? Like, just follow orders. Anyway, they go to the camp. They basically just end up killing all the people there. Saw Gerrera's not there. However, there's this moment where Crosshair tells the people that he's in charge of to kill and exterminate the rest of the traitors. And the alpha male guy that was like, we're gonna replace you, is like, I'm not doing this. I didn't sign up for this. And then Crosshair shoots him and kills him.
So
and
this is the Empire that we know and love.
Yeah, and then he makes the other clones shoot and kill the rest of the survivors, and then the plot ends with them going back to the hangar where the Bad Batch used to hang out, but it's just Crosshair and his new human squad. So
that's it. Maybe like a proto Inferno squad kind of thing from Battlefront. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought
or
about that.
even like a Death Trooper squad. But I was gonna say earlier before we like switched to like a synopsis. That moment. I think this episode was about like those moments, those split section. Jesus, I can't talk today. Split second moments where either you do the right thing or the wrong thing.
Yeah.
With Omega and also with like the Crosshair and the rest of his squadron.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, it's what I was gonna say was basically it almost shows why, because there is like the argument like, oh, like clones are too expensive. That's why the Empire moved from clones to just conscripted soldiers. I said it right this time. And yeah, that's a fair enough excuse, but it doesn't really like. I don't think the Empire would waste or would I don't think the Empire would care about wasting money if it meant like more impressive soldiers to maintain their empire. Like I think that just makes like that would be. I don't think that's the main reason. I think the main reason is that humans will do things in the face of authority that they would not normally do. Like when he told those people, well, there was the alpha guy that you
Mm-hmm.
your words that like stood up against him and was like, I'm not going to kill a bunch of people. The rest of them did though. Fear was put into the rest of his squadron because he shot that guy in the face. Yeah. And they just did it. And that's almost like because the clones are also just people too. And it's like,
well, they're chipped though, so they would do it.
Yeah.
Clones would do it. And that's like a whole part of the process is that like Crosshair has a chip that does impact his judgment.
My argument is that like just because you don't have a chip though doesn't mean you're not going to still do something like that. Like that's the point. And that's why I think I think the Empire knows that. Which is like they're like, we're spending money on something that people are already going to do. They don't need a chip. Right? They'll fall in line if they're made to fear us. So that's just my take on that. But
sure.
But yeah. Any other things you want to add? I'm trying to think of anything else in that episode that happened that I don't remember. Oh, you know what? Yes, there's one more thing. When they go back, I don't know if you remember that moment where they go back to the barracks, on Kamino, and he goes into the room and he like sees like basically the room that he spent all his time with the rest of the Bad Batch in. A lot of memories there and whatever, and he kind of looks around and it's all very cold now, and all their stuff's gone, and all that's left are like the little the notches on the wall that Wrecker made for each mission.
That was a nice
But then
detail.
He just kind of like sits down and he's like, he just looks very lonely.
Yeah.
In this new world. I thought that was cool, but it reminded me of a moment in Rebels. I know you haven't seen Rebels, so I won't go into it, but maybe people listening will know what I'm referencing.
It was a good moment. It was good.
Actually, I have been rewatching some Rebels recently, just like the earliest episodes. Man, you should watch it. It's good. Like there's a lot of duds in there, but for the most part, it's a fun show.
Okay, I've heard it's not that great compared to the Clone Wars.
That's a very popular opinion to have. But
like that, it's not even good though.
No, it's
in
good.
general. That's
It's
what
good.
I've heard.
There's a
Okay,
lot of good
alright.
stuff in there.
Okay.
There's obviously
Well.
also not, but you gotta kind of pick out what you like.
Fair enough.
But anyway, yeah. So that's pretty much it's a short one today. Not too much to cover. The episode was short too. It was like 20 minutes. So
It was pretty short.
yeah. We hope we didn't turn you off to this episode when we started gargling our drinks. But to everybody that stayed on, thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening all the time. If you do. We'll
Appreciate
be back.
it.
We'll be back next week for the 22nd episode of our podcast and the 4th episode of the Bad Batch. And yeah, that's about it. Follow us on Instagram if you're not already, and may the force be with you.
I just can't say that with a straight
I can't say it
face.
anymore.
It's like...
We still don't have a sign off.
No. See you next time.
All right, bye.